So Notion just publicly released Notion charts and they look stunning. This is arguably the biggest change that Notion has made to Notion aesthetics ever. You get 4 chart types, 2 bar charts, a line chart and a donut chart. Setting it up is easy. Just add a view or type /charts to create a new block. Then link it to a database. And you can even add it to your home or download it. And you know what's crazier? It works on all of your devices. The chart is built into Notion. It's not an embed. It doesn't require refresh. You just manage the data and the chart refreshes automatically. A good chart can show information and ideas really clearly, so it's important to choose the right chart for your data. We will look at least 5 examples of how you're already tracking your information. Then we will talk about what's missing in Notion charts currently and what's coming up next to Notion pretty soon. Let's dive in. Now, Notion charts is like learning a new way to talk, where you use pictures instead of words to share your ideas clearly. But by choosing the wrong picture, you can easily confuse yourself as well as others. Like by showing a line graph for daily cash flows for expenses. It just shows you how much you approximately spend per day, but not necessarily what you actually spend on. So the magic lies in correct pairing, helps people see patterns and make sense of the data quickly. Like finding the right puzzle piece to complete a picture. So think of a chart like trying to tell a story. For example, let's look at this expense graph. It shows you how much you spend each month in different categories, and it separates your spending into work and personal expenses. It could also be a story trying to explain what parts make the whole, and that's a story about composition. If that story is a snapshot in time, you would tell that story with a donut chart or a stacked bar chart. In this example, we show different exercises that I did and the average calories I burnt for each one of those exercises. If you look closer, it shows that rowing burns fewer calories than HIIT. If that story is comparing results over time, you would create a column chart or a line chart. And in this example, we can see that despite all of these exercises I undertook, my weight has been kind of flat. Thank God. These are hypothetical numbers. But if the story is a comparison between different points of data, you would be looking at a column chart or a horizontal bar chart. Like in this example, where I spent about $835 for the office, which I need to get a reimbursement for. And now that you've got a sense about examples of how to pair your data and your charts, let's dive into some more interesting examples. Now, I developed a method called the 5x5 system, which has profoundly transformed my productivity. The essence of this system is simple yet powerful. Focus on completing up to 5 key tasks each day, 5 days a week. Now, this should exclude routine meetings and pre-scheduled appointments, allowing focus on impactful activities. I integrate the Eisenhower matrix so that each task is relevant and productive when prioritized. Now, this helps me align my daily efforts with my long-term goals. Now, here's an example of a table with sample tasks. The date, the quadrant in the Eisenhower matrix, and the status of what's happening to them. At the end of the week, when you're reviewing your last week's tasks and you're scheduling your next week's ones, the Eisenhower donut is extremely helpful to stay focused. The donut shows that I'm spending far more time with quadrant 1, which is more firefighting, more than what I would want to spend. To set the donut up, I pick the chart type, which is the donut in this case. I pick the quadrant in the what to show. I want to count the number of items in the slices. I want to sort them from high to low, and I want to keep the chart colorful. The height at medium. Show the values in the center. The data labels with names and values with no legend, since I'm already displaying it as a donut label. Now, if you were to track the number of tasks by quadrant and their completion status, you would look at a stacked bar chart. So creating a chart is actually pretty simple. Here, you would pick the bar chart, omit the zero values so that blank items just don't appear. And most importantly, group by status so that you know how many of each quadrant tasks have been completed or are in progress or not started. Like in this case, you can see gray items as not started, green as completed, and the blue ones are in progress. So did you know that you can get 20% more productive by just getting a good night's sleep? Crazy, isn't it? How you can get more productive by just doing nothing. So in this example, I've recorded my sleep through every day of July, with the day of the week showing up as a nice little UI where I've used a formula. If you want to create something similar, watch my formula video that I released earlier. Links are in the description. So I created two graphs here. One which is a sleep line, which shows the average number of hours I slept by date. The x-axis shows the date and the y-axis the average number of hours that I've slept. The style shows that I've created smooth lines with a nice gradient area without a legend, but with data labels to give it a nice visual style. The second one is a sleep bar that differentiates the weeks into different colors. To get this, I chose the y-axis as the group by date, by week, and the colors automatically color these by week. And when you hover over them, the other weeks dim out. Brilliant. And the week in question is highlighted. I made something really different here. I made a dashboard for my template sales with about 8 charts, and it's not just another view. You do that with the /charts command each time, or you could just duplicate one chart and make the changes in the others. The data itself shows the dates, the customer name, the country, the template, the price in USD, the payment mode, and the source. The donut is actually a twin donut, one that shows the numbers split up by the type of template, and the second one shows the dollar contribution for each template. The weekly number dollar value of sales tracker groups the sales numbers or the revenue by week, draws a line and smoothens it with a gradient to show a nice uniform line. Now this is another twin chart. The source graph shows the revenue received from different sources and which source had the maximum impact. Here you can see YouTube and campaigns yielded good results. The payment mode shows what customers preferred to use by week, whether it's Stripe or PayPal, and you can see that it's quite uniformly distributed. The geography graph shows the different geographies, but it also breaks down the payment mode between PayPal and Stripe using the group by parameter. And here we've taken the number of units, not the dollar value of sales. The last one shows the product payment split, where you get to see which ones are leaning towards Stripe and which ones are leaning towards PayPal. For example, you can see that people are buying LOS, but they prefer PayPal as a means to buy. Now this has been the most significant UI change that Notion has made. And even for the free plan, they've included one chart. But you can create other visual UI elements in the form of progress bars, Gantt charts, and formulae. And I have 3 variations. One is for the day of the week, one for the habit tracker that I'm currently testing, and the other is a heat map that shows how good or bad that number is. Now if we go back to the right chart that I showed earlier, you will notice that there are many chart types that are still missing. You would have also noticed that I didn't show you a chart drill down to be able to click on any data point and review its underlying pages. That is a coming soon item. Notion just announced that they will be bringing Notion Forms as a means to collect information, request for feedback, or post surveys and collect RSVPs and bring that information straight into Notion. Currently, I use Google Forms as an example. So another brilliant release from Notion is the all-new automation. Click here to learn more about this update. And Notion just released a couple of formulae for getting some really fantastic visual effects that you saw in this video. To learn how to build the day of the week one, click here